just haven't put it into a Word document. But the information is there,
Yes.
and the information is correct.
It's
No.
correct until, I believe I think there's a 20, July 24th, 2010 is the date on the bottom of it. So, but that's on the cover, and then if you go to the second page on your table of contents page, there are amendments listed, so through 2015.
So they've basically added all the amendments in front instead of incorporating it into the document?
So if that list there is what's been amended, we can go back and insert it in the right area, in line with the text. But we can't do it in the PDF document. So it has to be done in Word. We tried to do it in the PDF document.
So the information is there. It's just not categorized where it should be.
What do you mean there?
Well, you said that amendments,
The amendments are listed on the bottom of the page.
correct? But they're not listed.
I didn't
in-
go through and, I don't know what those amendments are, and I can't answer right now, Gary, about if
Okay.
those are, I can go and look if you want me to and get back to you, but I can't tell you right now.
I think the idea is to have a fluid document that's editable, and when you go to a specific section,
No, I agree.
you would have all the information you need for that specific
Yeah.
section.
But we have no idea that all the updates ever even took place.
Oh,
That's the
the
moral of the story.
story of the amendments, you can't find any documentation?
Are these links on the, I'm sorry, I don't have it open, but are these links on
I
the,
don't think so.
No,
they're not a lot,
No.
so you can't, they would have to look, at that point, come
Mhm.
in to look. Yeah, see, that's just. You have no record of what the cost was associated with that recommendation?
I don't have it now. I can get you a cost if you'd like.
I'd like to make a recommendation that, I'd like to make a motion that we send a letter requesting the Board of Trustees to allocate the funds to,
Put that into a Word document? And the amendments?
but then from this date forward, anything else would just fall in line. So the PDF, if you just save it as a PDF, but we would have an editable document so that whatever it is, we update our parking ordinance. Well, it doesn't go here on a.
No, I understand.
It would be incorporated in. I think that's,
Once you do the initial list, then you have the document that you need. It's just the cost of the list. If someone at the township can do it, and then they can give it to us, then the issue of cost goes away. But if you don't have the staff, or you can't, then.
I'm sorry.
I know, I'm sorry. It's just, there are other townships who will, to not have us do reformatting, their
I'm
staff
sorry.
will
sure.
do it.
Why don't we motion the board, present it to the board PDF with,
I think we send a
Change it
letter
over, yeah.
requesting that they allocate the funds or whatever's
saying it's
necessary.
only
to-
got to catch up with the times.
Is that a motion from you?
I'll make a motion
You want to state it?
to change all this to a PDF file from the ordinance. Or how we
How
want
about-
From a PDF to a Word.
Oh, wait a minute, Pat, you made a motion to send a letter requesting the board to allocate funds for Spicer to update the, you said that, no, are we
To
changing it?
update our online ordinance to an editable document.
Yeah. So is someone going to second that?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, on to the public hearing for XLC Linwood Elite Resort. we open it, before we vote, to open it up for public hearing, anyone wishing to speak will have 3 minutes to do so. Please come up to the microphone, state your name and address. If you're not able to approach the microphone will be brought to you. Secretary Campbell will be our timekeeper. At 2.5 minutes, he will notify you of the remaining time that you have. Do we have a motion to open the public hearing for XLC Linwood Elite Resort?
I'll make the motion to open the public hearing.
I'll second it.
Can you do a roll call vote?
Cynic,
Yes.
Rokas,
Yes.
Rook,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Knuckle.
Yes.
And what time is it? 7:30.
7:33. I understand we have someone from the development team here to present. Comment to the fellow board members, unlike a public comment section of the agenda. Questions from board members are not only allowed, but encouraged, so.
Now I'm up. Charlie Thompson, 7780 Mulgrave Drive, Saginaw, Michigan. I kind of wanted to run through the whole process and how we got here. Cameron Penix is a very admirable person. He's always been a stand-up individual to me. But one thing I did disagree with on this comment was this being fast-tracked. We've been looking at this project since August of 22 and September of 23. We closed the deal with Roger Hoyle on what was in a plan very similar to this, but it was performed by a civil engineer named D&M. So we had D&M documents in hand when we made this transaction for the 2 properties that are not on the waterfront. At that point, I came into township here and met with the former secretary. I think his name was Greg Petru. And Charlie, Mr. Campbell, was there as well, and just said that we're looking to start up where this left off. And on the document, it stated that in 2018 it was submitted to the township for some sort of review. And at that point, we just figured that something had taken place. So, as we all learned, those of you that have been here this whole time, that it wasn't approved, it didn't pass anything, and we went through this whole process a few times to gain an understanding of what this would do to the community, try to express our intentions to do this correctly, try to follow the same path. We talked about options, but as far as due diligence goes, I think we tried to cover everything that we could and express our intentions not to be a burden on the community, but to bring something that would benefit the community. Obviously, we've talked about the rules and regulations, and we've tried to cover all that. We talked about what type of business this would be, what would it bring to the township, and I think that the people are already here. I mean, from my experiences at the waterfront, there are quite a few people that use that area with a season like this all year round. So it seems like it's a win-win. We could bring a nice, cozy location for people to come use, stay if they would like to, versus going back home or wherever they come from, and then spend the whole weekend or week, whatever they like to do. As you see the documents in front of you, if you have any specific questions about those or any questions about our intent and how to run the business, I'm free for all questions that you may have.
You want to talk about where you plan to start?
Yeah, absolutely. So all these 3 documents are different lots. The beachfront is here, this one's next to the Penix family, and this is the one that's on the corner, I will call it, of Linwood Beach Road, and where you would head out towards that beach lot. This is the one that we want to focus on first. This is where we want to begin. We're going to start the business on the larger lot with the 4 cabins. Any other questions on the plan?
So we have the fire inspection has been completed by Coquitlam Township and approved. The Linwood, we're in receipt of a letter from the president of the Linwood Municipal Water Authority, stating that they have no supply issues. Previous supply issues that the Linwood Metropolitan Water Department had were all prior to hooking on to Bay County. He mentioned, don't quote me, but I believe it was their previous capacity was 100 gallons per minute, and now they're upwards of 800. He said supply for this development was a non-issue. I know that I've brought up at prior meetings. I wanted to cover that. We spoke with both, with Tim Fitzgerald. There is a 12-inch sewer main running down Linwood Beach Road. Both he and Tim Fitzgerald is with the Bay County Water and Sewer Department, specifically on the sewer side. He said there are no capacity issues for these resorts. Sam reiterated that is a Coquitlam Township owned 12-inch water or 12-inch sewer main, and there are no capacity issues as well. Zoning, Fred has reviewed the plans, but he has not signed off them. He's given a verbal commitment, but he was out of state, so he has not signed off them.
Any more questions?
The grades in the parking lot on that particular phase one you're talking about, the grades are supposed, I'd advise to put spillways on the side of the driveways. Make sure there's no ponding on the road. You do have swale drainage, but there's nothing distinct on the plan showing that water is going to be a positive drain, flow off the road edge. Correct, but up in the drive entrance.
I got you.
Right, but you know what I'm saying, and the swales that come up to the front of the drive entrance, your entrance of the property, the drive entrance.
You're talking about
Yeah, if you look at them grades and the road grades, one and the same.
okay.
So I think you need to add spillways on the edge of the drive entrances to make sure there is not ponding or collecting on the water. On the
Makes
surface of the
sense.
road.
Each cabin is 22 by 26 feet, if that makes sense. It's a story and a half. On the first floor, there's a single bedroom, a little bathroom, a little kitchen, dining area. Upstairs is more of a loft space.
So how many beds would be each unit, or how many occupancies in each unit?
Well, you know, it's hard to determine. It depends on, like, if there's a family with, say if I brought my family here, it's my wife and I and 5 kids, easily there would be 7 of us in there. But, you know, if there was myself and 6 buddies, I think it would be kind of cozy and a little uncomfortable.
Did the fire marshal say how many people can occupy it? Like a quantity of people in it? Nothing?
City reviewed, got a letter, reviewed, he signed off and got an email. He reviewed the plans and they're acceptable.
But would he establish a maximum capacity for the cabin would be the question.
I believe there's a calculation in a 101 Life Safety Code that goes by square foot, or I don't know if this would fall under residential or sort of a hotel. I know the 101 code, but more specifically to healthcare and above. But it does specify per square feet, and if that becomes in question, I think that's a good guidance for us.
You got the letter there.
And then a dumpster site. You don't have anything on the plans for a dumpster site or enclosure? I don't believe.
On the first build, we do intend to build this storage building. That'll be sort of a garage area with, you know, the need to clean fish. We prefer not to have those inside. We thought that'd be a good building for that. Washer, dryer, and then we could, you know, house any sort of trash and pull from there.
So to clarify, the middle building.
I'm
there
sorry,
is not-
yes. So
not
this section has 3 buildings. In between is a building that is for service, that's not for rental. The proposed cabin on each side, in between is a service building where we keep linen, supplies, laundry, any sort of thing we would need to make the stay comfortable, keep things out of the yards, lawnmower, snow blower, what have you.
So you mentioned, okay, so say somebody goes out and catches 100 fish, we're gonna clean the fish, and the guts are gonna go in the dumpster, which is going to be on the 60-foot lot?
It would be inside.
We should probably talk about many of the public comments that have come in. You know, Don and I had a meeting with the developer and the president of the association just regarding where that proposed hookup would be in the middle of, was it in the middle of the parking lot? Was it? The document that was the agreement between Roger Boyle and Harbor View Point Condominium Association. Obviously, you provided a copy after we asked for it. I'm going to read the attorney. I sent it to the township attorney for guidance on this. After reviewing the attached document, I will provide a twofold answer. First and foremost, the attached document does provide the vacant lot owner the ability to bring water and sewer, parentheses, subject to approval of both Linwood Water Authority and Bay County Sewer Department. So, for the Planning Commission purposes, that appears to provide the applicant the ability to run those services to the lot. Secondly, this is out of the hands of the Planning Commission, but I would highly recommend that the two parcel owners contact someone to reduce the attached agreement to a recordable legal document. This is only a recommendation and does not fall within the authority of the Planning Commission. But as an attorney, if this was done right away, then this would not be an issue for you or the township.
May I speak to that as a public hearing or no?
You will,
Yeah.
just
Okay.
promise.
Okay, I'm just asking.
Promise,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
That's a little misleading, but okay.
And then another question I have is the outdoor lighting. Just so, what kind of lighting are you gonna have for your parking area? Are you going, mercury light, aerial, or fixed on the building side? Or, so we don't wanna have light shade going over the neighbors and beyond the property line, so.
I would invite Brad up here to help us on these technical questions.
Yeah, Brad Gore, New Venture Development. We have wall pack lighting on the side of the building.
Okay.
We have wall pack lighting on the side of the building.
So, the township's in
So you say you're gonna have, for instance, this parcel. So you're saying it's going to be on the side that's facing toward the parking lot, not generally where with the one that's over there, because of how the parking would be between the units. What are you gonna do to make sure that the lighting on that, it used to be considered map number 1 with the 3 buildings on it. What are we gonna do to assure that the lighting on that one doesn't have stray lighting that's going onto the home next door?
They make shades that go on the side of the wall pack.
I know that, but not everybody uses them. And 13, they don't use them and it binds you. That's all.
Yep.
We're in receipt of your Eagle permit, but we're not in receipt of any approval yet, at least for me.
Right, so I got a phone call when I submitted that permit to Eagle from a lady that said that I submitted and paid for a larger permit than what we needed, and she was going to come visit once we got started on the property and refund a large portion of that. I haven't had any more correspondence, nor have I had any success reaching back out. If that becomes an issue, I can work with them, but she really told me that this is not the appropriate permit for the type of build we're doing. It was over calculated or over overstated in the amount of info I put in that.
I have a question on the landscaping, where your property butts up to an R1A zone property.
That's the Penning's property.
You're going to have maple trees?
That we would tend to do something a little different. The trees are basically an aesthetic that the civil engineer placed on there, but we prefer to put a fence up to alleviate any tension as we move forward with the business.
How high would the fence be?
8.
8 foot?
Mhm.
Both property lines, south and northern lines, or just one line, your fence?
Is an 8-foot fence actually permitted? It's not permitted in the front yard on that 60-foot lot. On that front building, you cannot go 8 feet because you cannot obstruct somebody's view of the waterway. I mean, you can.
Well, we can set it, I mean, this is special use, we can,
No, I get that. I'm just saying though, the moment you reach that corner of building number 1 being nearest to the water in the front yard, you can't go from that corner forward toward that. For some reason, on South Linwood Beach, there was a debate about that, and they couldn't put a fence up, period. And a judge actually ruled on that one.
Well, I hope not
Yeah,
to
I
get
mean,
to that
we'd
point.
have to pull permit for the building
Yeah. No,
department
I'm
anyway,
just
so
saying.
they're gonna tell us what needs to be done.
Gary, you want to pull up that section? I mean, is it, there's a choice on there, correct, between a C1 and a residential? Whether it's a fence or both, I'd like to specify in there what we're going to require.
Hang on. All right, it's back on page 59. It's number 5, it says green belts and screening. Following districts require a green belt, wall, fence, or landscaped area on sides of properties whose lot lines abut or adjacent to a residential property or district. C1 and C2 districts, 4-foot high wall, fence, or green belted landscaped areas pursuant to specifications of this section. And then if you go down to 6, additional requirements concerning screening elements such as green belts, walls, fences, and landscaped areas. And you go to subsection B, wall defense requirements may be substituted with green belt landscape strips consisting of shrubbery, trees, or other plant items designed to obscure the use from the abutting residential district. The planning commission shall determine the sufficiency of such green belt landscaping screening matter pursuant to the guidelines of this chapter. So,
It doesn't address waterfront property though. And that's classified as waterfront property. That is an issue.
It's, as far as we're concerned, it's not an issue, whatever is
No,
compliant.
I'm just saying though, it's not the same as if you were to build it along M13.
Right.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'm
Is it waterfront?
yeah.
Yeah, that is water. That's lagoon front. That's water. That used to be the front line of Saginaw Bay.
That's why I had to
And
move
that's
that.
up here now, but I think that's private, the water's private, right?
That's, it connects to the Saginaw Bay. There's a channel that connects it to the bay.
So what,
That is classified as waterfront.
So
That's
fence-
your front yard where that lagoon is that goes out to the Saginaw Bay.
so fence is a concern we need to talk about. What else?
This one being on a corner, then you would make sure that there is like along the easement way going back,